what a live stream that was, and what a Halloween it wasn't. I don't know. We try to prepare for these things. But next Tuesday, so I'm not voting personally. Um, I think most of you know the reasons why. Mostly because I just don't care about any of it. The politics, the politicians, the Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, Peace and Freedoms, nonpartisan, green. You pick it. I don't care about it. Uh, the propositions. I just want to see better. I want to see any proposition that doesn't take away civil rights, the ability to get married, the ability to have abortions or not. I want progressiveness without taking away, without deception. I recall some of the most strangest. So Carter was the president. Carter's still alive, by the way, isn't that something? Carter was the president when I was born. And we went through Reagan and Bush and his son, Bill Clinton, and Obama. And those were different times, very different. And I remember the three strangest elections I've ever seen. The first one was Sheriff Sherman Block, who was the sheriff of the county sheriff of Los Angeles from the 90s, the late 90s. And that election was strange because he died. The man slipped and fell in a bathtub 2 weeks before the election was over. So it was awkward because how do you have an election going when one of the main candidates is dead? So you had these people show up and say, "Hi, I'm Drake, and here's my friend Tracy, and we're very sorry that the sheriff has passed on, but we're in his place, and vote for us, and vote in spirit." And people are just like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to vote for shit. So that was awkward. So we ended up voting for Lee Baca, and I got racially profiled by the sheriffs years ago from his administration. Because sheriffs will racially profile. That happens. It's just going to happen. So Villanueva, I don't know how that's going. I haven't been stopped by the cops for no good reason. I try to keep my hair cut a certain way so that, if you're the sheriff and you think stopping me is the best thing you can do, this is flipping hamburgers. Just instead of saying, "Where were you on the night of something? Would you like fries with that?" should be the questions you should be asking instead. Don't do this job. So aside from the racial profiling, and we've had that with whites to blacks in Ferguson and Minnesota, we've had cop killings, cop killing black people or Mexicans or whatever. There's been different narratives whether it's black people killing black people killing white people. There's different narratives. There's different narratives that are true. There are narratives that are misinformation and misleading. And that's why, and that goes with the second strangest election, which was Bush versus Gore. Remember that? George W. Bush won, and then Gore won, and then Bush won, and nobody knew anything. And we waited almost to this time at Thanksgiving 2000 to figure. No, actually, no. Because we're thinking it wasn't until almost near the holidays that we figured out that it was George W. Bush who won and not Gore. Then 2008, we got the first African American president, though he is half black and half white. And it's I thought back to Star Trek The Next Generation, where Worf's son, Alexander, would meet his future self, and his future self would tell him, it doesn't matter if you're what you're half and half. People see a Klingon, you should be a Klingon, not human. It is so strange because Alexander embraced his human side more than his Klingon side, but Spock embraced his Vulcan side. It's weird. So you had a man who was half white, half black, but people perceived him to be African American. That's why the Curious George T-shirts, the watermelon dollar bills and donkey dollar bills and all that shit. the curious the woman who put the head his face on a chimpanzee portrait and got fired. Um, and besides that, uh, whatever good and bad he's done, I mean, the only notable thing I can think of is Bin Laden getting captured and killed. The only other thing I could think of was Proposition 8. Now, if you remember Proposition 8 in 2008, it was this fat old dude, this weird, creepy, fat old man that's like, well, you could vote no on Proposition 8 if you want to, but if you do, your kids will turn gay in school. And that was what they were doing, the king and the king, or the prince and the prince. You know, you'd see that children's book, that fake children's book open up and it'd say the prince and the prince, the king and the king. And everybody, these old people who don't read, they watch only the television, their favorite newscasters on TV, Sam Rubin or whoever, and they're watching these ads, these proposition ads, and it's like, holy shit, you know, they're getting misinformed. This is about gay marriage. It's not about children turning gay in school. They're misleading people. So after that, I never watched another proposition ad. I did admire the Proposition 5 ad in 1996 when Native Americans they just wanted their own gaming casino on their own reservation. They misled to say, oh, your neighborhood's going to get torn down and we're going to build all these casinos where your houses were. But that was bullshit. And that proposition ad was very simple. No, not the ones you see today where you have helicopter shots going over the people and it's this or that, or you get these cool angles here and there. It's just very simple. The guy looks at you like I'm doing and just talks. He's out in the open. He's out in a better scene than I am. But he's talking and he's very straightforward. Very nice, polite person. Straightforward. Look up that ad if you can. California, Proposition 5, 1996. You'll see the guy. And it's a very simple ad. That's all it had to be. We don't see those anymore. We see a lot of color wipes here, red, blue, this scene, that picture, that photo, this caption here. We see the same fucking shit because it's the same fucking shit. And I don't know if Karen Bass is the Mary's vagina of mayors or Caruso is. I don't really know, and I don't really care. You know, we were gaslit to think only the Democrats had the magic beans. Only they were doing the Lord's work. But after a while, I listened to the right and I listened to the left, and I think, you know, I'm stuck in the middle with all of you here. Just kind of thinking, should I care? Now, most of you may be old enough now to vote. Maybe you're 18 and now you're going to vote, or maybe you're voting for the first time where you didn't before. And you're just not sure what to do. Now, keep in mind, you have to serve jury duty if you vote. If you vote, you do jury duty, you go to jury, you sit there all day long. It's a pain in the ass. Or maybe you can get out of it with a good excuse. This is just me saying I just don't care. Like Kamala Harris, sorry, but Tulsi was right about you. Biden, I saw somebody, I think it was Anson Mount, but somebody had said that, no, it might have been Quark. It might have been Armin Shimmerman. He said, oh, what are the Republicans going to do about the Ukraine crisis? It's like you got the triple threat. You got Biden, you got Harris, and you got Nancy Pelosi. What are they doing? Let me hear what they're doing first. Now, Armin might say, but the Republicans are holding them back. But aren't they supposed to have the most power? Isn't it all about these three? Isn't it all about them? I don't fucking know. What I do know is that people double cross. And I don't play the moral game. With Elon Musk taking over Twitter, that might be a good thing. But some people will criticize. I think Anson Mount was saying that Elon Musk made fun of an 82-year-old grandmother or whatever, or he criticized her and firing people. The truth is that I don't know what kind of person Elon Musk is. I don't know what kind of person Joe Rogan is, or Joey Diaz, or Angry Joe Vargas, or Vinny Feinsauce, or Review Tech USA, Rome Rush, because I listened to some of his YouTube videos, or Martel. I never met Martel, the cool, or anybody. I mean, there are some people I have never really met in person. Most people I just meet here within these windows. But I'll say that Honestly, I don't play the moral game with people I've never met in real life. I don't do that. Anybody I've never personally dealt with, I don't play the moral game. You could be a nice person, you could not be a nice person. I don't really know, and I don't really care. That's it. So because I can't trust the proposition ads, and I can't trust these politicians. I remember somebody I worked with voted for somebody that he knew personally. Now Nick Diaz, I bring him up because he worked for the mayor for a time. He seemed like a stand-up person. If he ran for president or mayor or governor, pardon me, I'd vote for him because I know him. I worked with him. He was my classmate in a television and film media. That was a waste of time, but whatever. I worked with him in college courses, and we were like Supreme Court justices in a virtual courtroom in a class assignment. It was great, great guy. He is gay, and I'm sure he was pissed off about gay marriage being struck down, and he must have known that those proposition ads were bullshit. But like that woman got on the bullhorn and said, "We've been cheated." Yeah, you got cheated. You did. But Nick Diaz couldn't go out there and fight the cops out in the street. That's not his job. I mean, he's got to wear the suit and tie. You wear the suit and tie, you got to be a little more responsible. Um, so no, I'm not voting next Tuesday. I don't give a shit. It's like it's like Jeremy Griggs when he found out when he was talking about Bayonetta 3 and Helena Taylor got called out for her bullshit, right? And then the new voice actor, her name escapes me right now, but the new voice actor who I remember from Skeleton Warriors. Um, I remember her from way back then, like when she did cartoons for the first time, and I can't remember her fucking name. Her name escapes me right now. I want to say Elizabeth, but that's not her name. Anyway, the new voice actor for Bayonetta, she's a Trump hater, like Trump derangement syndrome. So what Jeremy was trying to say is let these two fight it out. Let these two fight it out. Jennifer, that's her name. Her name is Jennifer. Um, let Jennifer Hale and Helena Taylor, let these two bitches fight it out. Whatever happens, happens. I wash my hands of it, which is something he rarely does. And I'm the same way too. I wash my hands of these politicians, even of Tulsi Gabbard. And this is the thing I'll say about Tulsi Gabbard. She's doing her premiere as I'm making this. I want to see more of those kind of podcasts where she was doing more for the community and not where she's criticizing the left, right? It makes sense. Many people who defend her say, well, she's criticizing the left because the left are in power. They're not completely in power, but first of all, it's the power of the mind, and then it's making sure that the seats in the Senate and the House are not completely filled up with one party over the other. It's better to split that party and try to force people to make a compromise. That's what's the better thing. But honestly, like I just don't care. I don't. I really don't. Tulsi should probably focus more on just positive things. And I'm sure she will. I'm sure she'll focus more on positive things. But all these negative things, it sickens me. Between criticizing Kathleen Kennedy, criticizing Disney, criticizing Warner Brothers, criticizing Marvel, criticizing this and that, it's aggravating. When I started this channel on YouTube in 2015, I just wanted to tell stories. I wanted to tell fictional stories, put some music up, show some cool shit, and that's about it. If I made money from this, great. I'm hoping to. One of the reasons why my job did not work out was because a lot of the people in my coworkers and my immediate bosses, they were assholes. Most of these people wanted to be there for their own selfish reasons that had nothing to do with just wanting to be there. It was just another job. I wanted to really be there at Universal, and had had the schedules been relaxed, had the boss not been a pinche cabron, a piece of shit, a piece of mierda, had he not been that way, had I been able to get accepted in a higher position somewhere around City Walk or Universal, I would, that video that I posted with my name tag would not have been made. I thought about making that video and I made it and it was done. Just like I thought about making the DLC Star Wars video. That was a failure, but hopefully I entertained you for an hour and a half. So that's about it. Whatever you decide Republican, you decide Democrat, or you decide absent. If you decide absent, great. You have no hate from me. You have zero hate. You have zero hate. I just want to see better. I want to see a compromise between the two parties. I want to see a compromise between, or I want to see proposition ads where gaslighting is not the first choice that people will be doing. Whenever you see those proposition ads, please, you see this device here, you see that tablet, that phone, go read about it. Read about your propositions. Yes and no. What are the cons? What are the pros? My dad always always select no. That's usually true, but if we're paying for something that's going to benefit us, we'll pay for that. If we say no to everything, that's not good either. If we say yes to everything, then we're paying for all these propositions and all these laws for what? So please look at each and every single proposition. Don't let the ads gaslight you. Don't let the campaign ads. Even though we're not voting for a new president, we're voting for the system. And the system has to be fucking fixed. Now, where do we go from here? Let's find out next Tuesday. All right? Whatever. I'm just tired.